Hey Dollhouse people, Whitney and LaBrie here, and this week I am finally going to be completing the bathroom ceiling, which I have been putting off for some time, mostly because of electrical. I wanted to create like a shiplap or like a beadboard look for the ceiling in this bathroom. I thought that would be a really cute addition to this kind of beachy vibe, shabby chic almost looking bathroom. So the one thing that I did is when the way that the Garfield kit comes is the roof or the ceiling for the bathroom is connected to the hallway and then what I'm using as the office. So it covers 3 pieces, but because I'm building this kind of one room at a time, I actually cut the ceiling into 3 pieces. So anyway, I've built this dollhouse before. I will tell you that I was worried about the integrity of the piece, but honestly, after doing it, I'm not having any issues, and I wonder why the dollhouse doesn't just come that way to begin with, because it's way easier to work with, but that's just my opinion. So what I did was I went out and I bought a ton of stir sticks, and these can be used for flooring as well, but man, they just really look good for the ceiling. So I went through all the stir sticks actually, and I placed them on the ceiling here before I actually glued any of them down. And the reason I did that, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to warn you now, is that these stir sticks, they're not all straight. Some kind of have a curve to them, some are warped. And so as I went through, I just tossed those aside so that I would be ready and kind of had a better idea of the stir sticks before I went along, so that it would make application actually a lot faster, which it was. So then basically I'm just gluing them down and using my Gorilla Glue wood glue, which I love. And then for any boards that want to pop up, I'm just using blue tape to keep them in place. And then what I did was I took some stir sticks and I used them to cover the seam line. And then I painted it a warm white finish and just slapped it on pretty easy, and had really no issues. Left some of the grooves open. You can kind of see them, which actually adds to the character and kind of gives it that beachy look or a rustic look. I mean, really the ceiling can be used in lots of different interior design applications. When I was done with that, I really felt like I wanted some more slats to go across in the opposite direction. So I just added, 4 more sticks and some little ones on the end there. And that was pretty much it. It was a really easy ceiling to do once I cut that board initially, and then you can see it going up. Now to the back there's an open gap, and so it kind of gives the room this unfinished look, because when I put up, I also did a really thick ceiling border. Okay, and initially I was going to do that in gray like the wainscoting that's in the bathroom, but it just didn't look right. I felt like the ceiling should be a complete unit on its own, and then the base and the flooring together to kind of just gave it a more cohesive look to it. So anyway, I did paint those the cream to match the ceiling, and then again, if you look in the back, if you notice, there's it just feels undone. And the reason that is that way is because the roof on this dollhouse is actually going at a slant, and it is going to come right through that back of that bathroom. Because I don't really consider myself an expert in lighting. I've definitely been, learning as I go here, but I will show you how I installed this lighting, okay? So I have this light. This is an old vintage light, and it does have a plug. So the first thing I did was I cut off a majority of the wiring. Now, in the future, when I feel super comfortable with this process, I will not cut as much. I will cut more of that wiring off and leave less for me to be dealing with once I install it. But I'm always nervous that I'm gonna accidentally cut the wires and need more length on it, that I give myself almost too much leniency. And you'll see here, so that I have a lot of wire left. See, I could almost string that in another room. That's how much wire I've given myself. But anyway, so the next thing I do is I take my X-Acto knife and I split those two pieces in half, right? Because they're stuck together. And then I very delicately remove the wire cover, the plastic that goes around that, so I can expose the wires. And I always use this little handy dandy magnifying glass that you can kind of see in the corner. Here, I'm going to insert a photo right here. Okay. So I bought this at Harbor Freight for like $5, and I would definitely suggest that if you don't have something like this, to get it, because even if you have fantastic eyesight, this bad boy is just going to save you from straining at all, and you're going to be able to see a lot of the details that you might have missed otherwise. And it's super great if you're going to be using an X-Acto knife that you have it. Okay, so the next thing I do is I take a little battery here, a little 9-volt, and with the exposed wires, I press them down, and you're going to see this light kind of come on very faint. Now, once it's actually installed and connected to the tape, the wiring tape, the copper tape, it will be a much brighter bulb. But for right now, we just want to test it and make sure that it comes on. Copper wire tape there, and I just made a hole and popped that wire through that, and it's kind of, my hand is in the way, I'm sorry a little bit about that. So the next thing that I do is I take a wall pin and I pop 2 small holes into that copper wire tape, tiny holes. If you overdo your holes, these are just starter holes. If you overdo your holes, you will miss, it will not connect to the little brad to the wire, to the copper tape, and it will not connect correctly. So I just use it as a starter. Now, these little brads that you can purchase, they are so small, and a ton come in the package. And the reason a ton come in the package is because these little tiny bad boys will pop right out. They will fly everywhere. You'll never see them again. So sometimes it takes a few of them to get into the hole. So I use a nice set of tweezers, and I put them in there. Now, for this, I need the little brads to be up. I don't want to push them quite all the way in yet, because I'm going to wrap my copper wires around these two.
What we do here is go back.
So I wrap them around, and you do not want the wires to touch each other. If they touch each other, you're taking a chance that this whole process is not going to work. So once you wrap them around, just make sure that you separate the wires out so they're not touching each other. And then you're going to press those brads deep into the copper wire. Just push them in. It will hold the copper wire, and it will adhere itself to that tape copper wire. And then hopefully you've made the connection. I've had to undo this before where I haven't made a good connection and the light didn't come on. So anyway, you can see that I'm pulling them apart. All right. And then once you do that, you should be able to turn it on and it comes on. Yay! And that's fantastic. So that means we have a great connection. You can see that it's a much brighter light once the connection is actually made. And then you can adhere that light to the ceiling. And then you can see here I have all the extra wire. See, and that's what I'm talking about, because I get nervous I'm gonna break something or whatever. So anyway, I am just using black electrical tape now to tape these down. And then I'll have a flooring that goes over that so it won't be seen. And that's that. And then you have the light in the bathroom. So cute. there's the finished product underneath, aside from, of course, where I talked about that ceiling and the gap, and that's where the roof line will be eventually. All right, so I hope you love the way the ceiling turned out. Go ahead and like this video, comment please below, and if you haven't already subscribed, just click that little red subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it when you do that, so that you can see the next videos as they come out. And if you are interested in buying used, pre-owned but fabulous dollhouse furniture and accessories, I do have an eBay website where you can do that, and I typically do put new product up every week, at least 1 or 2 items, and you can locate that. The link is below, but it's Whitney 1614. And if you're like me and you're obsessed with dollhouse miniatures and other fun stuff, I do have a Facebook page that you could follow me on at Whitney LaBrie Events. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed. This will be, I think, the last installation or last video, I should say, of this bathroom. If you're sick of seeing it, I am moving on to other rooms in the dollhouse I think you're going to find fantastic as well. And that's it. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.